everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Yovchev, and I'm an officer for Regions and Skills at Hydrogen Europe. And today I'll be your moderator. Welcome to session 7 of the B2B Forum on the role of local governments in advancing hydrogen technologies. Local and regional authorities across Europe have been key partners to hydrogen project developers by supporting projects via regional funds, by guiding and facilitating permitting, which is a significant barrier for project developers, and through creating ecosystems which link public authorities, industry, and research. Today we have 7 presentations from stakeholders with hydrogen projects all across Europe, and they will highlight the best practices they have adopted to tackle the challenges of advancing hydrogen technologies and establishing local hydrogen ecosystems. With that, I would like to give the floor to our first speaker, Jerzy Kopeć, Deputy Director in the Department of Ownership, Supervision and Economy from the Marshal Office, Malopolska region, Poland. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As our moderator mentioned, I am a representative of the Malopolska region and also a representative of the Vanguard Initiative as a member of the Board of Management. So I have some more information to convey to you. Okay, so let's start. Today I would like to convey some information about the Malopolska region hydrogen ecosystem and also some information about our activities in the field of the development of the hydrogen industry in Malopolska. The first message is that our system based on the, let's say, 3 or even 4 pillars. First one is industry. We have over 100 companies and other players in this sector. Among them, the most important is one of the biggest oil company in Poland and even in Central Europe, Orlen. Next one is Grupa Azoty, nitrogen group. They specialize in the production of the fertilizer for agriculture, but also they are a producer of the gray hydrogen. By the way, Poland is a third producer of the gray hydrogen in Europe after Germany and Netherlands. So the second pillar is academia, universities. In Krakow, we have a very famous university. This is a very old center of the science. The most important are University of Science and Technology, so-called AGH, and very old, one of the oldest university in Poland, Jagiellonian University. The third pillar is science, the network of the development and researches. The most important institution in our region is Łukasiewicz network. So moving to the next slide, some information about the most important activities in the hydrogen area in Malopolska. First of all, we are very proud that it was possible to establish one of the first hydrogen valley in Poland, Silesian Malopolska Hydrogen Valley. This is a very important link between 2 regions, Silesia and Malopolska. The most industrial region in Poland is the south part of the Poland. Another activities is our membership in the Vanguard Initiative. Thanks to this association, we are able to launch, to implement a different project, mostly pilot up to now pilot project, not only in the field of the hydrogen, but as well in the fields of the, let's say, intelligent specializations. We are also a member of the European Clean Hydrogen Islands, and we also create a special working group for the development of the hydrogen, so-called Malopolska Working Group of Hydrogen. There are over 100 members of this group. Thanks to this group, it is possible to exchange information, share knowledge, and create a kind of the consortia that could apply for funds from different sources. Moving to the next slide, I would like to share some information about the regulations, about our logistics. Yeah? In Malopolska, we have a very general strategy of the development of the intelligence specializations, and according to this, let's say, very general strategy, we prepared a plan for the development of the hydrogen technologies in Malopolska until 2030. What's interesting in this plan? When we prepare this plan, we try to consult with many different players, with many different institutions, just to make a conclusion from this, let's say, conversation from this researchers. And thanks to this activity, it was possible to conclude what are the most important priorities for Malopolska, what are critical points in our economy. And one of the very interesting example is that when we ask these players, this institution, was the most important element of the value chain of hydrogen in Malopolska, the answer was the same. Yeah? We identified the most important field is storage and transportation of the hydrogen. This is a critical point in our region. Of course, there are much more this kind of elements, but okay, this one is the most important. Some information about the hydrogen pilot project which we are execute, which are implemented under auspices of the Vanguard Initiative. There are over 21 regions engaged in these pilots. There are 3 coordinators of these pilots. I mean Malopolska, Lombardia from Italy, and Slovenia. And our regional strategic partner, the Polish cluster of composite materials, technologies material. As you know, the composite materials are very important for the hydrogen industry, especially for the vessels and pipeline. That's why their help is a very important force for us. On this slide, you can see demo cases different from the different region. For example, for the country from the Mediterranean, it's hydrogen shipping. Malopolska is much more interested in the standardization of the hydrogen pipeline and vessels, as I already mentioned, but also we concentrate on a replacement of the fossil source and in a different aspect of hydrogen technology. What are the goals? Just to exchange information, concentration of the preparing platform, become a European leader in the hydrogen technology. These are most important our goals. in this field. Some information about the regional group for the development of hydrogen technologies. You can see on this picture that we just 1 year ago met in the headquarters of this group. As I mentioned, the critical point, in my opinion, is to create a consortia for financing different kind of the projects. Here in this slide, you see the list of the key to success to creating a regional hydrogen ecosystem. In our opinion, the most important is, of course, the preparing the right regulation for this development. But of course, very important is international cooperation, building a structure of the different authority and different institutions just to let's say, to order the different aspects of this development. So, in a nutshell, it's just our logic, our concept of the development of hydrogen industry in our region. It could be a very long discussion, so I'm ready to answer your question at the stand number 82. We arrived to the Brussels to Hydrogen Week with a very strong team, so we are ready to talk, to answer your question. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerzy. Please, I would want a big round of applause. And we now move to our next speaker, Guillermo Figueiro, from the head of strategy area from the Fundación of Hydrogen Aragon.
Thank you very much, Ivan, for the introduction, for the kind introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to be here. And I'm delighted to tell you a story today. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, this is the sentence with which Star Wars begins, but it could be well the beginning of the story I'm telling you today. A long time ago, 21 years, in a galaxy far, far away, Aragon, the region I come from. It was 2003, following the publication of Jeremy Rifkin's bestseller, The Hydrogen Economy, when a group of regional politicians, industry leaders, and researchers began exploring the potential of hydrogen and fuel cells. By that time, Aragon had begun to exploit this potential as a producer of renewable energies. It has the intention to become a logistic hub in Southern Europe, and the automobile industry was one of the pillars of the Aragonese economy already. The need was therefore identified to create an entity to work on the promotion of these hydrogen and fuel cell technologies. And this is us, the Foundation for the Development of New Hydrogen Technologies in Aragon. We were created by the regional government, by the government of Aragon, under the legal form of private, not-for-profit foundation to promote the use of hydrogen as an energy vector and with a really industry-oriented research center. That's why in our status is reflected that the presidency has to be hosted by the department with responsibilities for industry, and the vice presidency has to be hosted by the general director for industry, which is the case for Mar Paños, who is the general director for industrial promotion and innovation, and who is here in the European Hydrogen Week. 28 entities supported the launch of this initiative 20 years ago, becoming the founder members of Aragon Hydrogen Foundation board. Today, it has become a board made of 92 members of key importance for the Aragonese economy. We can find there public bodies, energy utilities from national to international scope, metal mechanic, chemistry, All the research centers and universities that are present in the region are inside of our board. And we are proud also to have Jeremy Rifkin as an honorary board member. The commitment of the government of Aragon has been tenacious and constant, reflected in the form of nominative annual subsidy to Aragon Hydrogen Foundation, which currently exceeds €1 million per year. This transfer is justified under the proper implementation of the Hydrogen Master Plan in Aragon. Its first edition was launched in 2007, and it represents the first global regional hydrogen roadmap. Aragon Hydrogen Foundation is currently executing the fourth edition of this Hydrogen Master Plan in Aragon, 2021-2025. It has evolved from state-of-art analysis, market analysis, to R&D, to prototyping and demonstrating in the last times, and currently with a strong alignment with the European and national strategies, market, industry reach, and we are fostering also hydrogen demand. You will not be surprised by the lines of actions that we have in Aragon Hydrogen Foundation Master Plan. Hydrogen production, storage, transport and distribution, application, and some cross-cutting activities such as market development, communication, training, and one pillar for us also, comprehensive demonstration projects, which is basically hydrogen valleys. This is a representation of the production projects that we have in our region. We have a strong potential on renewable energies, and green hydrogen production projects are coming by themselves. We have a pipeline of more than 700 megawatts. We are reflecting in this map only the projects that are under FID, under permitting procedure, or that they have received already grants from national and European funds, or the declaration of general interest from the government of Aragon. 2 of the 7 Spanish IPCEI H2Us are located in Aragon, and 2 of the 7 projects funded by the first auction of the European Hydrogen Bank are also located in Aragon. But it is not only about production. We have several hydrogen refilling stations. We have the research and innovation centers. We have, in this research, obviously, Aragon Hydrogen Foundation as the main actor. And we have also the manufacturers, this value chain that is really covering the whole value chain from distribution, compression, storing, and dispensing of hydrogen. You can see them reflected on the left top part of the slide. And here we can show, or we can see, sorry, some of the examples of hydrogen refilling stations, portable and stationary, mid-stationary storage of hydrogen generators, combustion engines and combustion furnaces, and a line that is connecting the airport to the capital city of Aragon, Zaragoza, with 2 hydrogen power fuel cell buses. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there was a right rationale to think on hydrogen. More than 80% of renewable electricity production is now produced by renewables in our region. We are the second region in Spain with this market, electricity market share. We are the first one with, in terms of wind power in the generation mix, and the fourth in terms of solar power, only after 3 much more southern and large regions in Spain. But this is only the beginning. You can see in blue, just upper the green shots, that in the pipeline there are more and more thousands of megawatts to come. Also, the logistics we have with Plaza become the largest logistic facility on the European continent, and we are ranked 5th in the European freight villages and the first in Spain in front of Madrid and Barcelona. This journey, this story has led also to a great position at European level. Myself, I host for the last 4 years and a half the Hydrogen Valleys Cross-Technical Committee Leader in Hydrogen Euro Research. Javier Navarro, who is present here in the room. He's the technical and policy advisor for industry of the government of Aragon and former vice president of Aragon Hydrogen Foundation. And he is now, and for the last 3 years, been representing the European regions in Hydrogen Europe research. Aragon has become a prescribing region for its regional, national, and also European counterparts in hydrogen permitting. And the investments made in the region for the last decade have amounted for more than 100 million euros, with a total footprint of more than 900 million euros and more than 2,000 jobs. Lastly, I would like to invite you to our stand, F6, in the other hall, in Hall 11, where my colleagues will be delighted to join the conversations with you in our HQ, where energy connects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you. Moving then to France, I would like to invite to the stage Céline Quester, Hydrogen Project Manager from Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. The floor is yours.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes and why, for our region, hydrogen is really a solution to decarbonize the economy we really believe in. Well, first of all, our region, Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, is the first industrial region in France. We also have huge sources of to produce renewable energy with a lot of hydroelectricity in our region. And also, and very important, we have in our region 1/3 of the French players in the H2 field that are located in our region. So these are many assets that can lead us, that for us, H2 is really an evidence as a way to decarbonize. Which led our politicians to vote a regional hydrogen strategy in 2020 with four priorities. So develop the mobility and industry uses, support research and innovation, also support the development of the hydrogen industry, and also with a focus on skills. And last but not least, to engage in international and European cooperations to develop H2 in our region. Okay, so that's for, okay, we have assets in our regions. We have a strong political will to develop H2, but what actually are we doing? So we first started with a project on mobility. So as early as 2017, we applied to a call from the Connecting Europe facility. And so this was Zero Emission Valley. So the project was about, at the same time, building and operating refueling stations in the region. And at the same time, we gave grants so that the purchase of the vehicle was less of a hurdle. So there was European funding for these vehicles, and in addition, the region also put regional grants so that the two could be more of an incentive. So that was the ZEV project, and then we also added with French funds. We added on heavy mobility with buses and coaches mostly. So here you have a map of the region where you can see the different stations. So for the moment, 7 are in operation, the rest are under construction. And also to be noticed that we have also an H2 production unit next to the Clermont-Ferrand station, producing H2 for the stations. Something worth mentioning also is that in this project, the region directly invested funds in the creation of a society called Impulsion, whose purpose is to develop the network of stations. So together with major companies like Engie, Michelin, and also banks, the region is a stakeholder, is the major shareholder of this company. So really has to give a really big impulse to the development of this project and of hydrogen. Also to mention that the region itself is a authority for transport and also bought directly for its own purposes around 50 coaches directly in this heavy mobility I was talking about earlier. So this project was a first important step, but we in the second step, we really wanted to change scale and really address not only mobility, but also the decarbonation of the industry, and also cover the whole value chain. So this is why the region applied for a large-scale, the large-scale valley call from the Clean Hydrogen Partnership last year, and we were the winner of this call. So the region coordinates this project, and that covers the whole value chain, so from production to the end users. So here you can see the production, transport, and storage part of this project. So we have a few production projects within the valley, where you can see with the electrolyzers sign. And there is a specific project for the industry with our partner Arkema, who will produce hydrogen for their own industry uses. So a few production sites. We also have a storage project with the Storengy to store hydrogen in a salt cavern, underground store cavern. And also on the yellow, you can see the pipelines, and in the dotted yellow lines, the transport by tube trailers of hydrogen. And here you see the end users. So I already mentioned the industry use. With Arkema. We also have energy use at the airports, and also, of course, mobility. So it's mostly buses, coaches, even farm tractors throughout the region. So some key figures, not to be too long, but it's 200 million investment in total, with 20 million grant from Horizon Europe through the Clean Hydrogen Partnership. So I won't be too long. And yes, I didn't mention, but we also build on the first project, ZEV, with using the existing network of stations. And also, we also aim to connect our valley to the other valleys in Europe. But of course, it's necessary also to invest for the industry, but we are also aware that we have also to invest in skills if we want to develop really a hydrogen ecosystem in our region. This is why we are partner of the Green Skills for H2 project, which is here represented at H2 Week, and we participate in doing pilot trainings to develop H2 skills. So, so that's it. And as a conclusion, we were asked to see which best practices we could share. I would mention that it's the role of regions of a region that a region can take in being a shareholder in a company directly, like we did with Impulsion. And also probably the federating or coordinating role that a region can have. We have been for a couple of years, we have this regional H2 committee that we have, so we put all the stakeholders around the table. And this is why it was kind of obvious that we could do the valley, because we had already everyone around the table. So also a good practice would be that the region itself coordinates European projects and has this kind of legitimacy to bring everyone around the table. And also, of course, directly invest when we can in buses or coaches directly. And
Thank you, Celine.
I think that's it. And you can also meet us at our booth. We have a booth in the hall next door with other French regions and France Hydrogen.
Thank you. And now moving to the very south of Europe, I would like to invite Joaquin Villar from the Andalusian Energy Agency. He is head of internalization department at the agency. Welcome.
Thank you. I will try to introduce Andalusia and their action in the hydrogen sector. This is some key figures of Andalusia. Andalusia is one of the most populated regions in Europe. We are strategically located between Mediterranean and Atlantic Sea, a crossroad of numerous international trade routes. We have a large number of companies, especially in the energy sector, and we have a strong innovation ecosystem that has situated Andalusia as a benchmark region in agro-food or energy, that is the sector of today. This is because we have a tremendous renewable energy potential, which has multiplied by 5.5 in the last 16 years. Today is more than 61% of the electricity production in Andalusia, and that has allowed us to reduce the CO2 emission by 65% for each electricity unit produced. We are first ranked nationally in some renewable technologies as PV, not only large plants, but also very small plants. We have more than 150,000 small plants. So we are increasing a lot our objectives in renewables, and you can see if you can see in the slide, we have now already installed 12.5 gigawatts, but we have already identified investment of more than 14 billion euros that represent 40 gigawatts. So we want to be the region that contributes most to the national climate targets, and if we achieve these targets, we will be this region. But for us, it's not only important the energy issue, but also the business component. We have more than 7,000 companies installed in Andalusia that generate more than 80,000 employments. Also, we have, as I mentioned, research centers that are worldwide leading some key renewable technology as concentrated solar power plants in Almeria, for example. Yes, but the question that we share with other regions here presented, what can a region could do for better development of the energy or the hydrogen sector? Four measures for us. The first is the agile permitting. This is crucial. From the regional government, we have implemented several measures to simplify the procedure for a legalization of a hydrogen project. That is crucial. And in that sense, we have created that we call a project management unit to accelerate the process of the project. We have incentive scheme for hydrogen project, and we have the training is also key for us to better fill the needs of the market in the coming years. So we have created a Andalusian Green Hydrogen Alliance covering all the ecosystem with more than 500 members of this alliance. Together with this alliance, we have identified 23 projects that represent an investment of more than 5 billion euros. We want to achieve by 2030 3.7 gigawatts installed in Andalusia that represent more or less 30% of the national targets. But to do that, we have approved last year a Andalusian hydrogen roadmap focusing on four elements. The first is the attracting investment and promoting the adequate regulatory framework, prioritizing also the training needs for the labor market in the coming years, as I mentioned before. supporting the innovation. Innovation is key in all this ecosystem, and try to find the adequate financial instrument for this sector. This is the hydrogen roadmap, and is structured in different axes, action lines, and different specific measures. If you have time, we can share with you later. And this is the incentive scheme. We will run different incentive scheme in the coming months. 70 million euros, especially in those areas affected by the Just Transition Fund. We have 3 areas in Andalusia: Almería, Córdoba, y Cádiz, that has transformed their system in a more climate neutrality system, and hydrogen is a very good opportunity for this ecosystem. So we are dedicated a specific incentive for transforming this ecosystem in a more neutral one. And we have developed other tools, for example, a map where you can find all the ecosystem of Andalusia, the companies, research centers, strategic projects. So if you want to find, for example, a right partner to develop a hydrogen project, you can consult this map and find this partner. And also, also to support the companies in the hydrogen project, we have published also a guide to assess all the hydrogen projects in the permitting process and accelerating, as I mentioned before, all this process. So to conclude, I would like to highlight first that we have a very strong political commitment with the development of hydrogen in Andalusia. We have a large renewable potential that allow us to produce hydrogen in a very low cost. We have a very important mining and industrial sector that consume a lot of hydrogen. So 40% of the hydrogen consumed in Spain is consumed in Andalusia. So we have the demand in Andalusia, but beyond Andalusia, we are collaborating with many regions in Europe, try to find a way to export hydrogen from Andalusia to other regions in Europe. In that sense, we have agreement with different cities and regions, as the city of Rotterdam, trying to create the first maritime corridor for transporting hydrogen from Andalusia. We have, in that sense, a very strong network. We have a transport network. We have very important ports in Huelva, in Algeciras. And the innovation, as I mentioned, is a very important element. We have a very strong business ecosystem in Andalusia. And as our colleague commenting, one crucial element that we find is that interregional collaboration is key, because as a region, we face the same challenges, and collaborating between the region, we can find solutions for these challenges. And that's all from my side.
Thank you, Joaquin. Thank you for the best practice, and thank you for the overview of Andalusia.
Thank you.
And now, moving back to France, Pauline Bonnard from Région Normandie. She is Hydrogen Project Manager at the region. Welcome to the stage, and the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So thank you for this presentation. So I am Pauline Bonnard, and I'm Hydrogen Project Manager at Normandy Regional Council in France. So I'm going to present you a specific project, the one as a retrofitted Nomad car project, which was supported by the Regional Council, and I'm also going to explain how it was put forward to an international level with the project Lee Hype. So first, So to give you some context, I will talk about the competencies of the Regional Council in France. So in 2003, the French state transferred several skills to the corresponding resources to local authorities, so municipalities, departments, and regions. So the competencies of the regions are the one you can see on the screen. So the first one are the one where we are involved in the project of the Nomad car. So Normandy region is in the historical territory of production and consumption of hydrogen, especially in the chemical and industrial sector. At an early stage, we initiated a consultation with different actors to create a roadmap for Normandy. So it was voted in 2000. It was voted in 2018, so 2 years before the French government strategy for hydrogen. So the regional strategy gave the direction for the funding of new hydrogen projects. So to introduce a new form of energy, there must be a balance between supply and demand. So if there is no hydrogen supply, projects cannot emerge. So we decided to bear the financial costs for offering hydrogen supply at a time where mobility projects were not yet mature. So the aim is to encourage the development of hydrogen mobility projects in Normandy. So between 2018 and 2021, so the Regional Council invested in large-scale projects of hydrogen refueling stations all around Normandy. 9 refueling stations were installed to contribute to the emergence of mobility projects. So I will talk specifically of the station of Évreux, which was used for the experimental project. So to put into perspective, NOMAD is the name of Normandy Mobility Network. So it is bringing together the train, coaches, transport on demand, and car sharing all around the region since 2020. So the Regional Council would like to make the transportation network greener, and for that, diversify the sources of energy of the transportation fleet. The hydrogen retrofit is for the region the first step for the development of hydrogen coaches in Normandy on the relevant lines. So the objective is really to familiarize citizens with hydrogen vehicles, to dispel their concern and involve them in experiments. It is also paving the way for a new mobility project all around the territory. So this Nomad car was retrofitted. It is one of the first retrofitted coach. It consists here in replacing diesel engine and transform it in hydrogen electric motor. So it has many benefits, among others, 10 additional years minimum for the coach. It's lowering the cost and the carbon footprint of the vehicle, and also it needs less resources to build it. So we help to foster the cooperation between the actors, so multiple actors between institutional, industrial, and academic players, and we bring with them 3 Normandy-based research laboratories. So Évreux hydrogen retrofilling station has a capacity of 50 kilos per day, and it can deliver pressure of 350 and 700 bar. On one day, the coach is doing 3 round trips and is consuming 30 kilos for a total of 380 kilometers, and it has an autonomy of 450. So for this kind of line, of coach line, it has more autonomy than electric engine. So it was relevant to use hydrogen here. So the project has a double benefit for the actor of the region. In one hand, it is guaranteeing a minimum consumption to the hydrogen supplier. And on the other hand, the coach is insured to have refueling station for the project. So to sum up and to give you an idea of the project time frame, here is a timeline. So the project was launched in 2021, then there were refueling tests in 2022, and then finally in 2024, there was a standard approval, then we inaugurated the coach in April, and then several days ago, it started to transport passengers. So also at the end of 2024, we decided to enter the Interreg project LEHYPE, so bringing together participants for 5 countries. So LEHYPE aim to bring together all the players in the hydrogen value chain to encourage collaboration, knowledge, and practices between the regional players bordering the North Sea. So to make it possible, it is to bring together data from all the hydrogen projects in the regions and bring them together on one marketplace platform. The objective is to accelerate the development of the hydrogen ecosystem along the North Sea by providing information on demand and supply. So the platform will address challenging like cross-border infrastructure, the need of unified legal framework, for example. And Normandy Regional Council intend to contribute to this work by providing data on ongoing and completed projects in Normandy. So in this project, our pilot project is a retrofitted coach. So we already identified the line between Rouen and Èvre for the coach, which was relevant with hydrogen. Now we want to carry out a study to identify the other lines relevant for hydrogen, to extend our fleet with hydrogen. So we think sharing successes and risks between regions is important to move forward together. So when the marketplace platform will be finished, we invite you to check this LeHype webpage to find Normandy and all the projects of the North Sea. As a conclusion, I could say, in the hydrogen sector, at least in Normandy, there is yet no balance between offer and demand. So as a regional council, if we want to encourage the development of innovative projects, it is important to be part of some projects and give incentives. So thanks to that, the coach had a guarantee of supply, and the refueling station has a guarantee of minimum consumption. Even if it's not cost effective at first, the regional support helped them to build the project. Also, the integration to an international project can push them forward and help them to go to a larger scale. So I didn't talk a lot about the Normandy, but you can go on our stand close to hydrogen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you for the overview of Normandy. And now moving to the second part of our presentations on the more of the private perspective on regional cooperation, I would like to invite Johannes Jongbauer, Head of Department for Renewable Hydrogen at VN Energy.
Hello, thank you very much for your kind introduction, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and even greater honor to be part of this session. And while I was sitting here in the first row, I was considering my title, and I hope you don't think that I'm showing off too much, but what I want to express with Vienna leading the way is that today I'm proud that we cannot only present a strategy that we have in Vienna, but that we have put into operation this strategy, and we can now show you a fully operational hydrogen ecosystem on all levels of the hydrogen value chain, from the production of renewable electricity to the conversion of it in electrolysis to green hydrogen, of the transport of it to refueling station and industrial customers, and the end use in buses, industries, and in power plants. I will move on. This is rare. This is not unique, as we've seen in the French examples. But I think it's something on a small scale that we can show, and that is also, that's why I used the word leading. So it's the green button, I guess. Okay, now I pressed it twice. Then it's the red one, I guess. So, yeah. So just to put it into context, Wien Energie, as was said, is a company. And so that you have an impression what we're supplying Vienna and its surroundings with energy. We do that since hundreds of years, in fact, and we supply it with electricity, with gas. We have more than 500, we are approaching 500,000 units of district heated households and industrial customers. And we are also running the electromobility stations in Vienna, which you find every 400 meters in our city. We have more than 2,000 employees, and Our target is that we will be fully decarbonized by the year 2040, so earlier than the European target. Moving on to the next slide, this is where you can see why we were still invited to a session about local governments, because the owner of my owner is the local government. So the city of Vienna, which you see on the very right of this slide, owns the Wiener Stadtwerke, which itself owns the energy company, the distribution company, and the company that is running the public transport in Vienna, and several others like the funeral services. The city of Vienna has set itself the target to be carbon neutral by 2040, as did actually the Republic of Austria. And they have set that in a smart city strategy, which is in fact our target that we have to achieve. And together with our sister companies, the Wiener Linien, which are running the public transport in Vienna, and the Wiener Netze, which operate the distribution network, we have established a hydrogen strategy, which ensures that we will be able to be decarbonized by 2040. Still, we are talking here about hydrogen, but in the end, hydrogen is one crucial part of an entire strategy. In the end, we need a variety of technologies and solutions to achieve the target of decarbonizations. And as you can see on this slide, we will use a lot of electricity in individual mobility. We will use heat pumps for heating our homes. We will use geothermal energy and large-scale heat pumps to decarbonize our district heating system. But this will not be enough. Especially for heavy load transport, our sister company Wiener Linien and our customers see the demand for renewable hydrogen. And our industrial customer base in and around Vienna also will, especially for hard-to-abate sectors with high temperature needs, require some form of gaseous fuels, which we want to supply in the future. Moving on, what was our strategy? We wanted to make use of one of our, an advantage that we have is that we can build a whole hydrogen value chain within one company, within the Wiener Stadtwerke, from, as you can see, the operation of a windmill near Vienna, the transport of this electricity via the distribution network operator, the transformation of this electricity in an electrolysis to hydrogen, the transport of this hydrogen in the network, but as well on trucks within Vienna, and then the use of it in the buses of the Wiener Linien and other customers, and the use of this hydrogen in one of our power stations in Donaustadt in Vienna. And I think if it's one key takeaway that you want to have from my presentation, it is by having this integrated approach, we were able to reduce the risk of the project itself, and by having the added value of further than selling hydrogen to external customers, we were able to get to create a business case out of this project. Obviously, we needed some funding, which was supplied by the city of Vienna and the Republic of Austria. But in the end, it's a viable business case. And that's what I see when I talk about new customers. There's always this who takes the risk. And it's easier if you in one entity, it's easier to take this risk. Moving on, I want to show you the perspective on a time scale that we're in. I said we have a fully operational strategy in place. That means, as I will show you on the next slide, since 2021, we have the first refueling station, also with 350 and 700 bars in operation. At the beginning of this year, we put into operation a second refueling station on our other part of Vienna. And we have several buses of the Wiener Linien in operation, but actually they will purchase 20 more. Well, they have purchased 20 more, which will arrive next year. I think it's very interesting. Our biggest customer actually is not part of the integrated project that I've just told you about. In the end, it's the company IKEA that most of us will know, which are testing their distribution strategy in Vienna, because they have because we supplied the infrastructure that they can use. And they use for the short routes the electric trucks, and for the longer routes, so 50 kilometers away from Vienna, they use hydrogen buses. Anyway, moving on, so this is today. We're already doing that. In the near future, we will supply the industrial customers with hydrogen. We are already supplying via our fueling station the gas businesses, but there it's about the construction business. We have several projects in the pipeline. And in the day after that, I said here 2033, maybe later, maybe a bit earlier, we want to decarbonize parts of our today fossil fuel-driven CHP fleet by using hydrogen. As I can see, my time is running out. I will move on. And here is just the first part, which is running. So the 2 stations for the refueling, a picture of our electrolysis, which is up and running since Easter, and some pictures of our customers. As you can see, the Wiener Linien on top, a waste transport vehicle of the city of Vienna, and a truck of the company of IKEA. So I told you about the end use in the mobility sector. Another end use is the gas business. They are actually coming with their trucks and purchasing hydrogen from our station. Another use case is the use of hydrogen in a CHP plant, where together with the companies Siemens, Rheinenergie, and Verbund, we actually tested the co-firing of hydrogen 15% last summer. We were successful, and technicians always love to see these pictures. That's why I brought them with me. So we had to change some stuff in our turbine. It's a large project, and it's actually with a global impact, because this kind of turbine exists 300 times on the globe. But we don't stop at 15%. We want to go ahead with 25% next year, and we will move to 30 to 50% then in the late 20s. Summing up, our key success was the integrated approach, but this is not sufficient. That's why we have set up a Hydrogen Valley project in the eastern part of Austria with about 20 partners, other energy companies, windmill companies that operate windmills, distribution system operators, science institutions. And together in this group, we want to have a platform for stakeholders to exchange, to create new projects, because also in the end what we see is that the production and the transport is in place, but the demand is not there. So therefore we want to stimulate this demand and see and show what kind of solutions there are. And we're considering this project is running 1.5 years, and we are considering to expanding this project to the eastern parts, to the eastern border of Austria, to Slovakia, Czech Republic, or Hungary, and to be a European hydrogen valley in the near future. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation also by saying that we have a stand as the Wiener Stadtwerke together with my colleagues at Hall 11, A8, and I would be very happy to welcome you there. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Johannes. Thank you for this overview of what's happening in Vienna. And for our last presentation, I would like to invite Raphael Goldstein, Deputy Director, Co-Leader of the Hydrogen Project Group Chemicals and Healthcare, Germany Trade and Invest.
So let's go. Thanks a lot for introducing me. I'm the only one not representing a region, but actually sorry? Yeah, sorry. But a federal entity. And my entity is actually the Federal German Investment Promotion and Trade Agency. We work with the 16 regions of Germany on different topics. One of them is hydrogen. For that, we work with, closely with the regions, the Bundesländer, among other High Five, that's a northern party of Germany, Bavaria, or Baden-Württemberg, and all other regions. So today, I'm actually presenting something that is rather explaining that we work actually top-down, and that is what my partners here present is bottom-up, from the region on a higher level. And we have this experience too at Germany Trade Invest, coming to a situation that explains why we, and I changed actually slightly the title of the presidential to locally government-focused government initiatives, why we worked especially with some locations, some spots, some regions in Germany. And I would like to come back to the year 2021. As you maybe remember, that was the start of the war in Ukraine. And it had a certain consequence on our politics, top-down, on a European level. Repower EU have been then announced in May 2022, and it was to be independent in terms of fossil fuels, accelerate the transition to renewable energy, and diversify supplies. And we did also the same on a national level with different laws, among others, one regarding the acceleration of the building of LNG terminals. It was in June 2022, in June. And that's because we are in Germany depending heavily on imports from fossil fuels. And the same fossil fuels are used not only for energy purposes, but also for the industry. So, and that had consequences. So that the consequences that due to this quite difficult situation, so many sites producing chemicals or fertilizers have to be drove down and even shot. So in order to be reactive, as I mentioned, we release laws on the national level, but we also decided, and that is the German government, and that is the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Actions, to release, especially for some regions that are extremely affected by this new situation, a so-called future package. And to link that to a task force inside of Germany Trade Invest that has actually the task to attract investment and internationalize Eastern Germany's refineries, ports, regions, and more especially area previously dependent on Russian energy. And this package is not the budget of our task force. It would be too much, 750 million. It is actually a funding that is actually 50% funded by the federal government, but 50% also by the regions. And the aim is to transform this eastern part of Germany to a green part, to a green industry, to a decarbonized industry, less dependent on fossil fuels, more especially from Russia. And this means that this task force had to develop a collaboration with local entities, and I mean regional planning bodies, for example, county governments, local companies, in order, and that is not so easy, you have the law, but you have to facilitate the relevant projects to emerge and to arrive to an FID. So about which sites I'm speaking about, and what is the potential behind that? I speak about the region of Rostock, Uckermark, what is actually a part of Brandenburg, where there is the largest refinery in eastern Germany that supplies 90% of the fuels for Berlin-Brandenburg, and the chemical triangle of Saxony-Anhalt. And in this region, there is actually approximately 1.9 gigawatts of electrolyzer. Sorry, go back. Yeah. And that is planned till 2032. Following the bankruptcy of HH2E, we have to revise these numbers as we don't know if the portfolio of this company will be acquired by third party. This region I'm talking about are deeply connected to the hydrogen core network, and the northeastern hydrogen supply, we easily find sources of demand as it is connected to chemical sites like Leuna, steel mills in Brandenburg, the maritime industries in Rostock, and also to companies that are developing thin fuels. The new source of demand also are springing up. For example, that was not what we were not expecting, that, for example, companies that are in the metal industry, like EEW, they produce monopiles for offshore wind parks, and they will need hydrogen, for example, to heat the steel they use to be forged to build these monopiles. And there is also companies like in the vegetable oil producers that use hydrogen for the hydro treatment of the same oil to biofuels. So Germany Trade Invest has a pivotal role to play in linking the international investors and technology provides with the local projects, the project in the regions, and ensuring cohesive development with local authorities. For that, collaboration is key. And I wanted to take some example. This is one of the big projects, or let's say the big collaboration we have with local authorities and industries. It's an ammonia cracker in Rostock. We have a partnership with the Rostock Energy Port Corporation, which is actually a company set up by the Port of Rostock, one of the big utilities in Germany, EnBW, to facilitate transition of the Port of Rostock to renewable economy. And for that, they want to develop a large-scale ammonia cracker, converting imported ammonia to hydrogen, because in Germany, 50 to 70% of the hydrogen will be imported. And it is a crucial project for the region's hydrogen economy. And there, Germany Trade Invest plays a role in sourcing project partners like EPC firms, tech providers, or financial investors. We also have a big project in seawater desalination. Water is actually quite critical for the production of hydrogen, and in our case, it's not only the production of hydrogen, it's also the supply of the city of Rostock, Brandenburg, and the city of Berlin with fresh water. So using this water for daily consume, but also for hydrogen production. And for that, we have a cooperation with the so-called Planungsverband Rostock, what is equivalent to the regional planning board. What we also do is partner with local authorities, like I said, county governments, economic developers, local scientific institutions, local or regional companies like Enertrag, to identify and increase, and that is also a topic of my former speakers, identify and increase hydrogen demand among local firms, as it is especially important because we will import hydrogen, but also we have a high electricity capacity there. And this hydrogen have to find off-takers. That's the case in this region, that's the case in many of the Bundesländer in North Germany, like Hamburg or Bremen. And what are the key factors and future perspective for the region the task force is taking care of? Among others, there is the strategic advantages, like, as I said, the proximity to major off-takers with immediate access to consumer like chemical plants and refineries, the development of existing infrastructure. I think about the expanded ammonia terminals in the region of Rostock and the future integration of the local structure into the hydrogen core network that enhance distribution capabilities. There we are starting with first pipelines being supported by IPCIs. And not to forget government support and funding, more especially. The GRW special program supporting both investment in infrastructure and modernification of the infrastructure is key there. GRW means in German, Joint Task for Improving Regional Economic Structure. This funding program aims to support economically weaker regions by providing financial incentives for investments and it operates within the framework of the EU regulation. We use the TFT region I spoke about as an example, but you can also find our GRW funding in all the German regions, most of them. Not at the same level, but you can find also federal programs for local development in other regions, regional programs in other regions of Germany. Additionally, there's excellence centers and specific infrastructure assets, as well as off-taker structure in these other regions of Germany too. So, if you are an investor, an EPC firm, or tech providers, please get in touch with me to engage with the region's hydrogen market, benefiting from government support, strategic location, and infrastructure. And it should be here, my contact. What? Yes, exactly. So that's my contact. Get in touch with me, call me, or send me an email. It will be a pleasure to answer. Thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm at your disposal for questions.
Thank you, Raphael. I would just invite you to join a little bit. So if you allow me to just summarize with the most important takes personally from me, from your session, from your presentation, the best practices. The first one is knowledge exchange with local stakeholders, but also other regions, nearby regions, and international cooperation. This exchange, it seems it's one of the best practices that you have identified as a key for your success in developing hydrogen ecosystems. Then for me, it was very important to hear regions as coordinators, but also as leading investors in hydrogen projects to show that the technology works, that the technology is viable, to build public acceptance of the technology, and also to have a regional strategy and a regional master plan that guides the hydrogen sector forward. With that, I would like to ask for a round of applause for our presentations today, and I would invite you for us to take a picture here.